Good morning, Al Linkles here at pressure-free.com. The cost of hesitation, that is the topic today. Also, why stress is called the silent killer, which are words I don't really like, but you'll hear that phrase. People will say that. We got some cool light coming in here this morning. Um, so what I mean by the cost of hesitation is sometimes someone will reach out to me and want to work with me and then they hesitate. Sometimes they hesitate for a few days, weeks, months, even a year or two. And what transpires between the time of when they initially thought, well, maybe I need to do some work on this and get a handle on my stress, to when they actually start to come in, all of that time, what I see happening is a wearing down of us, a wearing down of brain function, a wearing down of body function, behaviors. Some life things happen to people in that time frame. And this morning, I just thought of, what is the cost of hesitation? One of the ways you could calculate that, if you wish, is to ask yourself, what is stress costing me? And again, for me, it's not really stress because we're all going to experience stressors, challenges, etc. It's whether or not we're triggering that stress response. So what is that costing us? You can put dollar amounts on it when you think about what kind of medications do you have to take, or will you have to take in the future if the situation gets worse for whatever's happening to you. Um, do you have to take mental health days? Do you have to take sick days? Are you sick in the course of a year? Um, all of these little clues. How are you behaving? Are your relationships okay, or are those wearing down a bit? What are all the little factors, and what are those costing you? That to me is the cost of hesitation. That if I have some people who get on a strategy call with me and just whip out their credit card, like, yes, let's go. There's no hesitation. And it reminded me of my one of my sons. He had a hockey line. They were the high scoring line on the team, just ridiculous numbers, and they called themselves the do it line. They had another name for it, but it's do it, meaning just do it, no hesitation. Like that's what I would actually yell from the stage stands is like no hesitation, because that was their motto. Like every little time, every little bit of hesitation results in a lack of momentum, a lack of change, a lack of getting to what we really desire and what we really want. So you can take a look at your life, other places that you might be hesitating. You say you're going to do something and then you put it off, you put it off, you put it off, and now the time window is closed. You can't really do that anymore. I've thought about that with getting a PhD. Like I thought about getting a PhD back in my 50s when I created Pressure Free, and I was like, I want to go get a PhD. Like, who do I want to work with? I want to work with Ellen Langer at Harvard. I'm shouting it out. Like, but I don't want to go. Do I really want to be in academia for 6 years to go through that PhD? Um, I think that right now, the answer has been since my 50s that no, I want to coach people. I want to help people. I want to speak. I want to write my books. I want to do the things that are making boots on the ground changes right away. So hesitation, the cost of hesitation. Now I want to move into this phrase. So stress is called the silent killer. You just type that in, you'll get all kinds of results. Um, I make a distinction that it's not stress, it's the release of stress hormones that's a silent killer. Why is it so silent and sneaky? It's because we often don't think that we're triggering this stress response. It's so, like I didn't know. I thought I was a really calm person until I created all this in 2010. Then I started to look at myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, I overreact to all kinds of little things. I was triggering my stress response for crazy things like my door sticking in my old house. There's a video on my YouTube channel I think it's day four. I'm positive, but it's like I'm trying to get into my house and my door would stick when there were humid days. Well, I live in Michigan. There are a lot of humid days. And so I'd have to put my violin and groceries down. I'd have to pull the handle and then I could turn the key. It's because the door settles and it swells. And it's this beautiful 1929-year-old door that I certainly don't want to replace. And so that was just a deal for me. Like I'd have to pull the handle. And that annoyed me. So that even to the extent that even before I got home, whether I was walking back from the college or driving back from somewhere, I was already triggering the stress response, subconsciously wondering if I'm going to have to fight my door to get into my house. Then another thing you can notice is that will pile on. So the fact that I'm using this door, especially if I have my car, is because I no longer park in the garage because our garage is like movie sets and all this artwork and the ping pong table has been turned into a spray paint studio for one of my sons. Like it's just too full of stuff for me to pull into the garage and use the back door. So that's why I'm using the front door. You know, all these little things. So piling on is something that we do too. By finally understanding the cost of me overreacting over and over and over again and stopping those overreactions with this method that I created, it was like a whole new leash on life. This morning on my news feed was a study. There's been a study done at University of Oxford in the UK. 80%, if not more, perhaps even up to 90% of our health in old age is determined by us individually. It's not by genetics, it's not um, by the system, if you will. It's by us. And it's a controversial study because other people are already chiming in that they think there are more factors, etc. But this aligns very well with the work of Dr. Ellen Langer, where her thing is the number one thing is stress. The number one thing that causes ill health in any age is stress. And so those two bits of research are fascinating to me. And they align with other research that I've studied on the ability of our thoughts to influence our very DNA so that you don't express certain gene tendencies that would be like the BRCA2 gene for breast cancer, heart disease genes. Like those genes won't even express if your telomeres on your chromosomes are healthy, if you are not eroding your very DNA, which is what the stress response does. The only reason we're supposed to trigger fight or flight is to protect ourselves from a predator. Some people that I've worked with have been in abusive relationships, like they've been in predatory relationships. Like so that's a lot to overcome, but it can be done. Like we can do that work. And oftentimes it's a combination of therapy and pressure free. That's another thing. Sometimes people ask me, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm a coach, and I work present to future. Sometimes people come to me and I actually suggest they have therapy along with this because there's things that's not my world, that's not what I do. Um, and then other people have been in therapy for years, but they're still anxious. So they come to me and we help break that anxiety. So the stress response is the culprit, and pretty much every one of your cells and every one of your bodily functions is affected by it. Not just that, but our behavior. When they say stress is called the silent killer, it doesn't just kill us physically. It kills our brain cells. It kills a lot of things, physically and mentally for us. But it also kills business deals. It kills communication, kills relationships. Because when we're overreactive, and some people will think, well, that's just my nature. But I'm here to claim that let's just take a peek. Let's see if it's really your nature or is that you on stress hormones. Remember that commercial? I think it was 60s and 70s. They'd show a fry pan with eggs frying and they go, "This is your brain on drugs." That's your brain on stress hormones. That's your entire body on stress hormones. Eggs frying in a pan. Okay. So when we can get a handle on that, you might not even know what you're capable of. You might not have even begun to reach your full potential because those stress hormones have been shutting down your cortex and your hippocampus and not even allowing you to flourish physically in the way that you really could. That to me is the secret to being well in old age, being well at any age. So if something is chronic going through time, it usually has a root in the stress hormone release, or those stress hormones exacerbate the symptoms of whatever it is you have. Any disease we have is a list of symptoms. There's so much here. I could just go on and on sharing with you. But I guess what I want to come back around to is if you have watched me, if anything that I have said to you has made sense, has piqued your curiosity, I invite you to come on a call with me because hesitation is costing you something. You don't even know what until we dig in and figure that out, but it's costing you something. So if you book a call with me, it will be totally pressure free. I don't sell to you. I share with you what might be possible, and you get to share with me what's going on so I can really identify if this is a good fit for you. And if it is, and you don't hesitate, and we get going, like I just got a text last night from a client who's just achieving so much success with pressure free. It just blows my mind. It's just so exciting. I just love it when people reach out and let me know what's going on because it's just such a blessing to know that this method is as impactful as it is, as it's been to me, as it's been to people close to me where I see the evidence of it. Um, and and so yeah, so hesitation, it has a cost. Stress has a serious cost. And by taking action, by not hesitating, you set in motion momentum for your well-being at a really deep level. I wish you a great pressure-free day. And if I haven't talked with you before, I would love to have a conversation. Have a good one. Bye.